dream. One swimming up, one swimming downstream. The Pisces life, the Pisces life. Two fish living in a dream. One swimming up, one swimming downstream. The Pisces life, 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 the Pisces life.
Welcome to the 153rd episode of the Pisces Life podcast, where I am just Letitia, just hanging on. I'm a writer, I'm a podcaster, I'm a storyteller, and tonight I just feel like being quiet and silent and in a chair rocking. But we here doing this podcast. On the other microphone with me tonight is my sis.
Your sis in the struggle. It is Kai Love, who wants to throw every piece of equipment that has a technological function into the snow. Like just every single piece of it. The computer, the laptops, the iPads, the cell phones, everything that requires a charge from a USB-C. Just right into the snow. Because for why? But why? It's just really been an interesting Monday, which is normally why I used to not work on Mondays. I used to try to do a Tuesday through Thursday situation. Oh, but low. One of my clients wants to have 3 meetings on Monday with the same people. We just can't talk to each other at one time and just be like, this what we talking about? No. Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh.
I'm happy to see you though, sis.
I know, I'm very happy to see you. This brings a joy to my heart these times when we record, because it's, contact with people outside of, myself. We're going to be in a quarantine for long because y'all just, I'm tired of talking about it, sis. They just, first of all, thank you to our Pisces Life listeners out there who choose to listen to us, because everybody and their mama got a podcast. Everybody. There was somebody recently, I said, I'll be doggone, he gonna get a podcast, but I can't remember who it was. It was somebody that I was like, wow, podcasting really is for everybody. But we are thankful that you choose to tune in to us every week. And, thank you. We just wanted to say that, kick off the show with a little listener love.
Yes, we're so thankful for all of you who are listening. And we know that you're sharing because our subscriptions, our listenership is going up.
Yeah.
So to those who are newbies to the Pisces Life, welcome. Where y'all been at? We was waiting for y'all. Hey, y'all.
Hey. Well, sis, before we get into this current news and stuff that we've been following,
yes,
we have something that we need to remind our listeners to.
Yes.
And this is something that is so special to us. This really is our living Black history moment. I really do consider this one of our big podcast history moments that is happening during Black History Month. That's a better way of saying it. But we wanted to take this time to remind you that we are gearing up for a very special moment in the Pisces Life podcast history. Our project, our funded project, Survivance, our digital time capsule, is almost ready for kickoff.
Absolutely. And as we announced a few episodes ago, if you did not hear that, go to episode 150, because that's where the announcement lives. We were awarded a storytelling and media grant from the Phil Foundation of Chicago. We proposed this project, Survivance, as a way for us to gather our voices. So like the collection of voices that oftentimes get ignored or glossed over in mainstream media. And we wanted to feature those voices and their reflections of their lives, because regular folk is important. You don't have to be a superstar. Not no shade to the superstars or the well-known, the populars, but like regular old folk out there living their life, surviving and trying to make it on through. They have stories too. And we wanted to really highlight that and bring those stories to the forefront, because we know, as Letitia said, that is part of history. That is part of helping others to build resiliency so
Yes.
that they too potentially and forever, hopefully, will be able to survive and get over the connections of human spirit. If we've not seen anything else in this pandemic, is the connection of human spirit and our willingness to figure out creative ways to still stay connected to each other is
Right.
important. And how one way how we can continue to do that is by sharing our stories, because the stories will live forever if we are smart and intentional about it.
Absolutely. So we're coming up on a whole year of living, working, educating, and basically doing life in some way, shape, or form of quarantine. We've been on lockdown, whether it's been absolutely the world coming to a screeching halt March of 2020, when we were all collectively in the house except for essential travel, which meant grocery store, doctor's office, or that's it, because we were working from home too. So the way we work, educate, support one another, even the way we celebrate, grieve, give birth, or have gotten married, the way we come together has forever changed. So to that end, our project, Survivance, a digital time capsule, will focus on the stories of Alana in the greater Chicagoland area. That's where we're starting off.
Yes. And the Field Foundation defined Alana for us. They said that Alana, which is ALAANA, are those who self-identify as African or African American, Latinx, Asian, Arab, and Native American. Again, Alana, ALAANA, African or African American, Latinx, Asian, Arab, and Native American.
So in the coming weeks, you'll start to see the call for stories. So make sure that you're following us across our social media. And if you're Alana in the greater Chicagoland area, we want to hear from you.
Absolutely. So please stay tuned. Now, I told y'all this before. Some of y'all are hard-headed. So let me repeat it just in case you missed this. Please stay tuned for more information about Survivance, the digital time capsule, including how to submit your story. Okay, sis, let's get into it, because I know it's been some news. I already know.
So much. Well, we might as well start with, the most current situation that's just recently happened. This is all anybody could talk about on this crazy Monday. It looks like the Super Bowl is over with. Thank goodness, sis, because I tell you, the Twitter streets were ablaze. It was the old versus the young. It was Tom Brady versus everybody, Kansas and Tampa. Florida just really showed out in grand Florida fashion.
Yes.
Oh, did you watch the game, sis?
The game was watching me, as most people know who are close to me. Y'all know that I was a significantly serious football fan. Supported my Philadelphia Eagles, traveled all around the world and beyond. I even saw an NFL game in London several times.
Wow.
Supported that franchise. It's a good pastime. I have a lot of friends that I have met all over the world, and would suit up with them, put on our gear, and go out and just have good times. It's just really a good way to socialize. And I was all into fantasy football. You remember, sis?
Yes.
A couple of them episodes, we was competing against getting things edited and trying to get my lineup in for fantasy football. And then everything that happened with Kaepernick really just took me into the other direction. I basically withdrew from all of my fantasy football leagues. I stopped patronizing the NFL because I felt like if they were not going to be respectful and responsible for ensuring equitable treatment of peaceful protest, because that's all it was, is I'm a person and I'm protesting peacefully against something that has harmed me and harmed people that I know and love, and harmed my people, my race, my ethnicity. And the fact that they had this whole issue and would not allow that to happen and basically boxed the brother out, then that dude that was in that office that ain't in there no more was throwing, flames on it. And it just left such a negative taste in my mouth that I just withdrew altogether and just stopped paying attention to it. So I haven't watched since then. Since the call for the boycott of the NFL, I haven't watched. I've been in the room where the game's been playing, but I've been doing other things, not paying attention to it because I just feel like I can use my efforts and my attention elsewhere for the good of Black folk. We watched it as a family because my husband wanted to watch it with our son. And so I was there in spirit for the family unit. But I was like just amazed that people would want to even be out there amidst everything else that's been happening in the world. And I saw all, the pre-show, they were, how they panned the folks that's outside. It looked like a regular old day.
Oh, yes, sis. You couldn't tell that we were in a pandemic with 4 different variants at all. You couldn't tell. From not one picture have I seen did it look like any precautions were taken by anybody to wear a mask. I cannot recall a single picture that I've seen in Tampa this weekend. A crowd, whether it was from newspaper, whether it was from people tweeting, whether it was from following the hashtag Super Bowl, not once have I seen a mask. Not once. Not once.
And the groupies were in full effect in some of these pictures that I saw, sis. I was like, we still groupieing. Is that a word? Groupieing?
Listen.
In the Super Bowl in the pandemic? I'm like, oh my goodness. And sis, I don't know. Have I been asleep? Have we just been doing the Pisces life and busy with survivance that we missed a message or something? Because Chicago is back to in restaurant dining. The Cook County is back to, moving around.
Same here, 25% capacity, but they out. They're out. Kids going back to school March 1st, supposedly, winter sports starting back up, because these parents, they have to have their kids in sports. My goodness, what would we do without sports? So basketball is getting ready to pop back up. Soccer, indoor soccer, volleyball, all of the winter sports are getting ready to get kicking right about now. No word on vaccinations for people, teachers, staff, or students, required or not,
So confusing. I don't know. It's a personal choice. I understand we cannot tell people that they can or cannot do what they want to do. Like if they want to be outside in the world and there's provisions for them to be able to do that, that's fine. I'm just going to ensure that I'm nowhere over there so that I can keep myself and my family safe. So I wonder how one would get the ticket to get into the Super Bowl. Like, how does that happen? Because, we talked about last episode that Trey Songz had got into a little scuffle at a NFL game. So he was there in real life. How does one get to determine who, if you get to be there or if you get to have your cardboard cut out there? Is that like a lottery or something?
It is a tight situation. Now, it's a special situation that happened in the capital city of Michigan. There is a gentleman that I happen to know, Mr. Eaton, very respected African-American businessman. He was featured on CBS this weekend, one of their morning shows, because he has been to the Super Bowl for 50 years.
Oh, wow.
He has not missed one Super Bowl, but this one was almost the one that he missed. Long story short, he had to do a whole lot of writing letters and calling people. I don't know who the writing and the letter and then the calling of the people go to, but lo and behold, for a mere $5,000, him and his wife were able to go to the Super Bowl. He and his best friend, one of his buddies, and his wife also same situation. So that was $10,000 right there on tickets alone, and they've never missed a Super Bowl together in the last 50 years. And it almost happened this year, but lo and behold, there they are at the Super Bowl. And they are definitely, I ain't trying to be funny, Mr. Eden, forgive me, but you are of age when you need to be in the house, sir. You damn near 90 years old. I mean, he might not be quite that old, but he in his 80s, I know.
Right. If he's been going to 50 years worth of Super Bowls.
Thank you. Okay.
That's a lot of Super Bowls, bro.
It's a lot of Super Bowls, but he got it like that. You know, that man is living his life well deserved. But since they said that there were 25,000 actual people in the stadium, in addition to the cardboard cutouts. But since not everybody appreciated the cardboard cutouts, one of the guys, Mr. Woody McClain. Now we know Mr. Woody, Woody the Great, Woody _ the Great on Instagram. You know who I'm talking about now?
You talking about Kane?
Yeah, Kane, girl, from Power Book 2. Yes.
Yes.
Baby, they said his agent, you know, had hooked him up and was like, hey, you going to the Super Bowl? You going to the Super Bowl? And he was like, oh my God, how did this happen? I'm going to the Super Bowl. He said he went and started packing his bags and was waiting on the Uber to come and get him. And he texts the agent and is like, you know, hey, what's up? You know, what time I need to be at the airport? The agent sends back a picture of the cutout of him in the stadium. The cardboard cutout, sis, in the stands.
Oh.
When I tell you this brother was hurt, his Instagram went dark after this announcement. He didn't have nothing else to say. He said, it be your own people getting me geeked up thinking I'm going to the Super Bowl. And he sends me a cardboard cutout of me chilling in the stadium. He said, well, why I got on my pajamas, though? Why I got on these silk yellow pajamas? You didn't even put me in the, you could have had me in some gear. Baby, his feelings was hurt.
I have to watch this on the Instagram because...
Woody McClain.
Oh, my goodness. Do you know how upset I would be if I thought I was going somewhere and then you showed me... packed up and you didn't put a cardboard picture of me in my jammies?
In my pajamas, all wrong. Oh, he was upset. Oh. You know, he was the only Black celebrity right there as a cardboard cutout. And he amongst all these fans with their jerseys and stuff on. Here he is in his pajamas looking like, turn off the lights.
Looking like Bobby Brown.
Girl, listen, tenderoni already.
Yes.
Well, we so sorry, Woody McClain, but baby, if this helps you any, you still find us. Pajamas, cardboard cutout, whatever.
Yes.
Oh, sis, that was so sad. I felt so bad for you.
I know. I know he was, because you know he already told all his boys. He was just like, yo,
told everybody.
I'm going to the Super, told everybody.
I got them tickets, dog.
Right. All of that.
That's power. I could just hear him.
Yes. Oh, Woody, we sorry. We sorry. But you know what? There might be some divinity in that, Woody. There might have been some divinity to keep you from that super spreader event called the Super Bowl. Because we need you to show back up for season 2. We want you to keep on working, brother. Keep on cashing them checks signed by Courtney Akim. We want you to continue to flourish, thrive, and survive.
Yes. Agreed. All agreed. Oh, girl, there's so much other stuff going on. As you know, we're gearing up for Pisces season. Pisces season.
That sounds like Christmas music.
That's what I had in my mind, the Nutcracker. All of a sudden, I'm doing my little ballet Pilates.
Yes.
So a couple of things that are happening. And this is exciting. I couldn't have orchestrated this better if we even tried. But guess what's premiering on March the 5th during Pisces season? One of the best movies to get a second part ever. And we have been waiting a very long time. Yes, I'm talking about Coming to America 2.
Yes.
I can't wait, sis. That's coming out on Amazon Prime, March the 5th. And sis, most of the original cast, and I say side eye, just a small one, but most of the original cast is coming back. Of course, we've got Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, Sherry Headley, and James Earl Jones. Yeah. But guess who ain't coming back, sis?
Who?
Mr. LaSalle. Mr.
Eric LaSalle?
Oh, he said he's booked and busy. He's booked.
Soul Glow?
He don't want the soul to glow.
Booked and busy doing what else? I mean,
he's on apparently one of them Chicago medical shows. I don't watch that.
And he just couldn't.
He wasn't gonna do it. He's booked and busy. Said he's unavailable.
Oh, come on now. Now that just he funny acting. I see that's nothing but funny acting. And I don't mean that in no good way, Eric LaSalle.
I thought, maybe he was thinking, I've outgrown that. I'm more an actor in this regard here, But
that in the original one, he had got dissed.
No.
After, he lost his girl.
Oh, that's true.
So maybe he felt like he had served his time in that space, and if they were not going to make him a hero, where he would
or give him a fade, because he had to bring the Jerry curl
back, or something. Make him the proprietor of several chains of hair care, beauty supplies.
Right.
Maybe he felt like his time was done. Well, okay, Eric. Okay, I'm gonna take it back, brother. We all about free choice over here.
We are.
But I wonder, are they gonna reference him at all in the reboot? I am super excited about this. As a non-moviegoer person, I did see this and have seen it several times. So I'm excited. I
love it.
Amazing. We need some good stuff on.
Yes, we do.
On the tube, especially because we have had several movies that have come out that has not gone so good.
No.
Brother Denzel Washington.
Oh, every little thing is hot or whatever.
I was about to say the thing was little. No,
right.
That's not the name of it. I think it's called The Little Things. Is that what it's called?
No, Every Little Fire Everywhere.
Oh,
no, it's not it. We better look it up. We better look it up.
Every Little Fire. That's sis Carrie. Wait. I was gonna say Every Little Step. No, that's Bobby Brown.
No, that's Bobby. No, it's Bobby. The Little Things. Denzel Washington's crime thriller. The Little Things. Well, it led the domestic box office. I didn't help it get there. For one, I can't seem to find it. HBO and HBO Max don't need to be two separate things. It just don't.
It says, as someone who sat through the entire thing and watched it, I was quite over it. In fact, I posted on the Facebook that I was over it, and it had worked my nerves. I as a storyteller, and since you are storytellers, yes. we understand that there's an ebb and flow to stories.
Yes, it is.
They don't have to all go the same way, but there's normally a start, there's normally a middle, there's normally an end, and the end can even be unresolved. We're not asking for resolve in all stories. Sometimes a good cliffhanger, a good, pathway forward to a sequel or a prequel or whatever. But this movie was not the best.
Not.
It was, B level, C level.
Oh.
It was. Oh. It had Jared Leto in it.
I feel like I should know who that is.
Yeah, he's a guy. He's a guy. He had long hair in this. It was creepy.
Wait, don't tell me. Jared Leto. Yes. Okay, spell it. No.
Right. Jared Leto was in it, and then some other person was in it who was like the co-star, and he was a little creepy in face. So So yeah, it was just creepy and just I was just over it, sis. And so then I was like, oh, I'm gonna redeem my viewing pleasure and move from one Washington to the other Washington.
Ooh,
so
not Malcolm and Marie.
I started Malcolm and Marie.
Mm-mm.
And I turned off Malcolm and Marie. And no, let me get it right. I started it 20 minutes in, I muted it, and then 5 minutes after that, I turned it off. I don't know if I was just not in the right mind frame. What?
First of all, you're happy in your marriage. That's one. That was that's one. I'm gonna tell you, like my other happily married friends told me, they were like, if your relationship sucks, this is not the show for you to see because you will be divorced. It's not I described it as intense. As a matter of fact, I suggested to them when the infant goes to sleep, y'all watch this.
Oh, okay.
You know, don't even put that energy when this child is awake because it's too intense. I'm still mad at Malcolm in real life, John David Washington, with your gaslighting behind and that. Oh, I wanted, sis, the 20 minutes that you did see. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So we'll start with some positives.
Okay, they look great.
Oh my goodness.
He is fine. He is forever fine.
It was beautifully shot.
Yes, it was.
I love that black and white. Oh. I love that kind of musical score.
Yes.
Oh, it was
that soundtrack was on point.
It was beautiful to look at. And I even thought, I know a lot of folks have commented on the dialogue. I thought, what if it was just black and white like it was shot and just had them acting certainly and still doing their commentary, but letting the music be the only soundtrack that's playing behind the movie and let it, old school, like, a black and white film, silent film. Because now I understand the narrative was necessary, but whew,
it was intense.
Intense is a good word. Intense is a good word. As someone who is not, I am not part of the argumentative committee. I typically go quiet if I am upset, and especially if I don't have anything super positive to say,
Right.
But Malcolm and Marie had a lot to say to each other. Very vocal. Very vocal.
Very vocal. Very vocal. The two of them it was a duet of soliloquies. It was a duet of monologues. It was a duet of personalities. It was a duet of life circumstances and the reactions that we make with it. One of the things that I walked away questioning is the right to one another's stories and what we do with that, with care, with intention, with what it is. Now, spoiler alert, he had made a movie, Malcolm had made a movie based on Marie's life and, won a big, huge award. It was the huge night of his life, and he didn't thank her. He didn't say thank you. All Marie wanted was a damn thank you. She just wanted to be acknowledged. And I didn't think that was too much to ask. That's what makes me mad with him. And then he talked bad. He talked real bad. He talked real greasy when they were in that bath. Did you get to the bathtub? Oh, well, girl, let me stop now. Just be ready. If you enter that space again, I know you'll need to light several candles.
I don't know if I even want to go back. I left off when he was eating the macaroni and cheese or the Parmesan butter noodles that she had made for him, and he was talking to himself about her while eating said noodles. And I was like, I just don't have a lot of. It's hard for me to focus on people who are cruel intentionally. Yes. It's hard for me to focus on people who are cruel as a way of trying to remain in power. It's hard for me to focus
Yes.
on people who are cruel as a way to distinguish the power dynamic. So
Yes.
I'm going to, you say two things. Oh, I'm going to say three because I got to be not, that one up you. I have to ensure that I get the last word. Like there was just a lot happening there between the two of them.
Mm-hmm. It was a lot. The dynamic for me that I also took away from it was that there are some relationships that are so toxic. There are some relationships that are just so habitual that the toxicity becomes normal to you. And you learn to function in it, not very well usually, but function enough where you can survive in it. You're not thriving in it, but you survive in it. And you get comfortable and complacent. And then something happens that you just can't come back from. And for her that night, it was not being thanked. And here I am watching my life on this screen, and everybody is all ooh, ooh, ooh about you, you. And you didn't even say thank you. And I'm making these Parmesan buttery pretend mac and cheese noodles at 1 o'clock in the morning for you. No. It makes no sense to me. But one of the recurring themes that I've been hearing from people that are in relationships, whether it's married or situationships or, what have you, it scares me, terrifies me, and confuses me.
Okay.
When somebody is married and lonely.
Yeah.
Why do you do that to somebody? People are usually together because they don't want to be alone. So how dare you emotionally starve someone? How dare you ignore wants, needs, joys, happiness, day-to-day, connection? How do you ignore that? It should be your privilege, your honor,
I think for a lot of people, and as someone who's been married previously, I think it's hard to just undo it. You know what I mean? And sometimes you just say, I'm just going to stay because it's easier to. And then you think about, especially if you have friends who are still single and complaining about what else is out there, then you're like, well, I don't want that either. And then you go with the, oh, I could just do bad all by myself. But then you think about, how lonely that can be. And, certainly it sounds good when you say it, but in reality, like especially the pandemic has been illuminating on the spirit of loneliness. I know a lot of people who were fine prior to the pandemic because they had their outlets to move and groove and see people who are now, being respectful of the pandemic and the rulings of it, who are like, this is just not healthy. And to be honest, Tish, this is probably part of the reason why people are ignoring the safety precautions, because they need to be around other people and will do that at any cost.
Oh yeah, I realize that there are not a lot of people who are comfortable with being alone. There are definitely people who are not comfortable living alone.
Yeah.
There are not people who are comfortable with their own company. There's some people who don't like where they live, and to be in there all the time has added on the layer of depression or aggravation or whatever you want to call it. And then there are some people, who, like you said, you live alone, but you could always go out. You could travel. You could go to a friend's house. You could have people over. And if you are quarantining and doing things correct in the pandemic, you do get tired of your own company, even if you are an only kid and you, an only adult, if you will, and you work through or don't mind your own company, or coming off of a breakup right before the pandemic. I was ready to be by myself, but I didn't know how long I was going to be by myself. I thought like a year later I would be dating somebody else, like the world would be open up and I could go somewhere and meet somebody else.
Right.
So all of that is shot to hell, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I'm thankful, you know. There are days when I get tired of myself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There are days when you can only watch so much TV. I don't like silence, but there are days when I just don't want to hear anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's something to be coping with. I had somebody that called themselves being funny, calling me, talking about, I just don't know how you do it. I'm not made like you. I don't like being. And I was like, back up.
Right.
So then we got into this spitting and spatting for each other. You know, she had to get on my, I'm not like you. I would never want to be alone like that. Da, 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 da. And I said, and likewise, I'm not like you. I certainly wouldn't want to be trapped up under the roof with somebody who has zero respect for me, is a gaslighter, et cetera. So, you know, now we're not friends, and that's okay. That's another thing I'm thankful for in this pandemic. It has certainly showed you your real ones.
Yes.
It has certainly showed you your day ones. It has certainly showed you the people who are serious about their lives, their livelihoods, about their about them, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
I think that it's so important to figure out your respective lesson in this pandemic.
Right.
One of the things that was shared on episode 150, the Faith Show, was that there's so many things that have come to light in each of our individual lives. So amidst all of the difficulty and the loss and, you know, the fear and, you know, there's enough bad things that have happened in this space. But there's also some lessons that I think a lot of us have learned, some truths that we've been forced to face and deal with, because there is no escape, there is no outlet, there's just kind of you and whatever else is going on. And I've heard that a lot too, that there's been some cleaning house with folks with their personal relationships, things with people's families, people's intimate relationships, and even parents and children, like realignment. Like, we've been in here doing this all wrong. We about to we about to fix this, children.
Okay.
So that has certainly been an interesting twist to this time. And I'm sorry that you fell out with your friend. And I just actually was having this conversation with James this morning about the space of sharing joy, especially if you are in a good relationship or in a good marriage or even have found love. There's people who have miraculously connected with other people during this time and are building things together,
right?
And whether that's intimate relationships or partnerships or whatever the case may be. And so how do you manage sharing good news amidst a bad situation and or some of the folks in your peer group who may be having a difficult time, and it's like, because I was listening to another podcast and they were admonishing some of the stars, calling it the lack of personal responsibility, because the stars were bragging about how much money they were spending, and that the podcast was talking about how we have to be closer together and more sensitive to the needs of other people, because there are people who are without jobs and all of that. And I was thinking, like, that's it's always been that, though. Like, there's always been unemployment, maybe not as mass unemployment as it is now because of the pandemic, but there's like rich people been rich for a while. Like, I know, because I'll be looking at them like, you rich. I'm not rich. So what's your thoughts around that, sis, in reference to the joy space? Like, can you manage the joy space in the midst of this kind of sad space too, like this duality of joy and sadness?
I think if you don't, it'll make things worse. I think that we have to relish those joyful moments even more. But I also think that, I guess I'm a little jaded. I've been burned enough sometimes to question, because some people don't really share joyful moments with you for the sake of, this is what has happened and we're sharing. And the intention behind it. You know the intention behind it. You know the sincerity behind it. You have some people that I think their joy is they're able to share their joy more with others when it's a joy that they have that's uncomplicated.
Okay. I get
Does that make sense?
It
You know what I
does.
mean?
It does.
It's uncomplicated. It's not like the joy of I done made it over. Because right now everybody is struggling to get over something. But even finding something to be joyful about, like new accomplishments. I've started grad school, or yes, girl, we are doing fine. We are doing great. I'm thankful for people who are doing well, who are finding those connections with themselves, with their family, finding love, staying in love, being in love, all of that stuff. But sometimes I've had people in my life who it's the way they share that news. It's the way their intention is behind it. And I've been in relationships enough to know. I've literally had those things shared to me. Well, I know that this was going to hurt you, or I knew, this person knew that I had been through a breakup. As soon as the pandemic hit, the person didn't call to check and see how I was doing. It was all about, I got my husband at home and this and that. I just went through a breakup.
Right.
You're joyful that you've had him at home. That's great. Now, what I was thinking to myself, and that I have to work on this, because I was thinking to myself, well, at least the pandemic has kept him home and not at his girlfriend's house. So I thought that was very nice.
Wow.
I had joy about that because, this is what she's been wanting. And so, I can be petty, I can be ugly. And, I just wasn't in the mood for it, because I felt like in that moment, I've went through a horrible breakup. That I've lost people. That it's what it is. And yet this was the spirit in which you shared your joy. I don't know. I need to grow up in that area. I can admit that. I'm happy for people when they're happy. I am. But I don't like I just don't like the digging. Yeah. I just don't like the digging. You don't have to be happy at the expense of knowing that this is going to make somebody else miserable.
I agree with that. I don't think that you, like, the digging is a good word that you reference, because I don't think that if somebody is calling because they like trying to flex on you, like trying to hurt your feelings or whatever, like, I don't think that is right. Like, I think that there's a fine line between sharing your joyous occasion or joyous moment with your friend group, or family members or whatever, and still being able to respect the space that they're in, and ensuring that you check on your peoples. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
And we talked about this. I can't remember which episode it is, where I always say, you asked if people have the capacity to hear your bad news, right?
Yes.
If you need to dump, you need to purge, you need someone to talk to, so you respectfully say, girl, I'm about to lay some heavy stuff down.
Right.
Do you have the capacity for me to hear that? Same thing happens, like, I think, for good news. I think you should be like, hey, sis, I got some great news. And are you interested in hearing that? Like, we have to permiss each other and not be mad if the good sis or the good bro be like, you know what?
Not right now.
Not right now. I'm in the mood, sis. I'm in the mood, bro. I appreciate whatever's good happening for you. Come on, keep that energy. Share it with me in 2 days. Because right now, I'm in a different space. Like, I think that we have to become better managers of our communication. That's really what it is. Like, and it be okay. So if I'm using my words to be like, I need a moment, that you as my friend or family member should respect that.
Absolutely.
You know, and it not be taken to be personal. Everybody just doesn't have the capacity to manage everything right at the moment that you feel like that they need to be managing it. Because you just never know what people are going through. You just never know.
You don't. And in the scenario that I was giving earlier, I'm fine with you coming to me and say, hey, girl, pandemic, how you doing? We're doing good over here. You know, a couple of little things like that. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the way, again, the way which there was no need to compare it to, well, I know you broke up. I know you this. You didn't need to go in my stuff. We're sharing how your joy is radiating. There was no need to bring up my failed relationships.
Correct.
To get to your happiness during the pandemic. There was no need from where I was sitting.
Correct.
And so I have to learn how to not get an attitude about those things. I have to learn to maybe not snip and snipe back at these things, because I can bite. I can. And I usually do. I usually do. These are things that I'm growing, you know, in learning not to do as much as. But again, it's the spirit of which, you know, you approach the situation. And even if somebody, this was something that somebody told me. They were like, nobody really owes you to celebrate with you. They really don't owe you that. But you really do hope that you are around people that want to celebrate the good things with you, the ride the rough times with you, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
I agree with you there. I saw a meme that said, let's practice something new for 2021. When someone shares news about themselves, fight the urge to share your story right behind them. And then I'll put an asterisk to say, fight the urge to bring up what's negative about the person that you're sharing your news with, as a way to show how positive yours is.
Yes. That's what I'm trying to say, sis, because it's not necessary.
Yeah.
And people really will celebrate you wholeheartedly. If that's, again, you don't need to dig and tear somebody else down in order for your news to be elevated to a worthy celebration, I guess. It's just not that. I'll clap and be cheerful for you and cry for myself later.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. To your direction, you know, to your direction, if you, again, have the capacity to hear any of it at all anyway.
Okay.
Now, y'all out here listening to this podcast, y'all gonna take this podcast and listen to it now. Don't be all in your feelings like I'm not in the mood to listen to these Pisces life women's. Y'all gonna listen to this podcast and share it on out there in the world.
Please, because we just trying to do our little part.
Absolutely.
I tell you, the other thing that I'm excited about in Pisces season before we get out of here is another anticipated release.
What?
Girl, The Coldest Winter Ever.
Oh.
Book 2 is coming, Life After Death. Book 2, The Coldest Winter Ever, is coming by Sister Soldier. We have been waiting for this. I would love to get her on the show. I really would.
Oh, I would as well.
I would love it.
Oh, The Coldest Winter Ever
I would love it.
If you haven't read this book,
get it.
Get it in time before this sequel comes out, because we first of all would love for her to be a guest. So anybody who knows the good sis and can help these two good sis connect with her, that would be amazing. Maybe we should review the book.
Let's do that. Schedule it. Let's do it.
Maybe we should. Can we call our girlfriend panel back?
Ooh, yes.
And let's have a book club discussion.
Let's do it.
I like it.
I do too. We'll organize. Oh, and March is Literacy Month too.
Yes.
Well, listen, we're going to give you a little bit of this sneak peek teaser from Amazon.com where you can pre-order the book. It will be auto-delivered to Kindles March the 2nd, and I think that it comes out in hard book form March 4th. March 4th. But this is what it says. The long-anticipated sequel to Sister Soldier's million-copy bestseller, The Coldest Winter Ever, Life After Death, a novel, The Coldest Winter Ever, Book 2. Winter Santiago has hit time served. Still running, still pretty, still bold, still loves her father more than any man in the world, still got her hustle and high fashion flow. She's eager to pay back her enemies, rebuild her father's empire, reset his crown, and ultimately snatch Midnight back into her life. No matter what beep had him while she was locked up, okay? But Winter is not the only one with revenge on her mind. Remember Simone? Winter's young business partner and friend? She's locked and loaded, and Winter is her target. Will she blow Winter's head off? Can Winter dodge the bullets? Or will at least one bullet blast Winter into another world? Either way, Winter is fearless. Hell is the same as any hood, and certainly the Brooklyn hood she grew up in. That's what Winter thinks. Woo!
Can't wait.
Girl, I can't wait.
I can't wait. I got my Kindle ready. Yes. Can't wait.
Get me a Kindle.
Sis.
Yes. I got an old Kindle. I don't even know stuff download on it no more.
Oh yeah, it's the my Kindle is the old iPad. Old like 4th generation iPad. Like it's old, but it's still let that Kindle come through. That Kindle app still working.
Right. All right.
That's amazing. I'm excited.
Yes, we can't wait for that. And I mean, Pisces season. That's going to be fun. Ooh, that'll be something special to have a little book club during Pisces season.
Well, that's so good. I like that. That makes me really excited.
Yes.
Well, I think we've given the people what they needed. Rather presumptuous of me to say.
If we must say so ourselves, you have been duly informed and fed this night.
Yes. If you are looking to connect with us, follow the show. We are on the Facebook. We are on the Instagram as The Pisces Life. We are on the Twitter as Pisces Podcast. 2 words. Just send us a little message. Send us a little tweet. Send us a little like on our Instagram posts. We are working to be more out there. We are sharing more clips. We are trying to get out of our auntie ways.
Yes.
And ensure that we are promoting this show. And so interact with us. Find us in those places.
Yes.
We love interacting with our listeners. So thank you for listening. Sis, if they're looking for you, where can they find you?
They can find me working on me. And I love to hear everybody's good news. Just don't be digging at me with your good damn news, no. But no, you can find me trying to, keep it copacetic and away from the Rona at IamJust Letitia, Letitia. And sis, if they are looking for you, where can they find you?
They can find me trying to get back into Malcolm and Marie. They can find me trying, y'all. We'll see if I make it back. And if I'm not trying to get back into Malcolm and Marie, y'all can catch me on the socials. On Twitter, I am KaiLovesYou, KaiLovesu. On the Instagram, I am KaiLovesYou2. Just add the number 2 to it. Thank y'all for listening.
Oh, peace.
Peace.
2 fish living in a dream. One swimming up, one swimming downstream. The Pisces life. 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 The Pisces life.